on Sirius XM radio. 81 days from the most important election of our lives. 81 days. And every day I say the same thing. Stay angry, because that emotion keeps you engaged. And every day Donald Trump gives us an organic reason to get angry. And it's a continuation of yesterday with Donald Trump's attempt to destroy our democratic institutions and prevent us from voting. It's unbelievable. And we're going to go through, though, something that happened today. And Donald Trump didn't count on a certain group of people stepping up. It's good, actually. It's very good. We'll get into that in a second. But while Donald Trump's attacking the idea of mail-in ballots for the rest of America, today we found out that himself and his wife requested to mail in ballots in Florida's primary, which is next week. See, the bottom line is Trump wants to make sure him and his family are safe, but doesn't care if your family gets sick going to vote, because he hopes that you won't vote. Because as we can see from polls, if everybody comes out and votes according to polls, Trump's going to lose horribly. So Trump's panicking. He's doing everything he can. Joe Biden had a great, though, tweet today saying, voting by mail is safe and secure. And don't take my word for it. Take it from the president, who just requested his mail-in ballot for the Florida primary on Tuesday. Boom, mic drop. Now, there was some breaking news a short time ago, which is really distressing on its face. The Washington Post reported the U.S. Postal Service sent detailed letters to 46 states and the District of Columbia, telling them they cannot guarantee all the ballots that have been mailed in through absentee ballots will get there on time, which would mean they're not going to count. And this adds a more uncertainty in already a time of uncertainty. And that's what Trump is trying to do. He wants to make people think their vote doesn't matter. It'll never get there, so I'm not going to vote. That's a big part of what's going on. But as various experts have said, like Selena Stewart, Senior Director of Advocacy at League of Women Voters, quote, the slowdown is another tool in the toolbox of voter suppression. Look, Donald Trump has not invented Republican voter suppression. They've been doing this for decades now. Voter ID laws, closing down voting precincts in areas where people of color are going to vote because they tend to vote Democratic, getting rid of early voting days, everything they can do, understaffing locations where Democrats tend to vote. Trump has just taken it to new levels. We've never seen it openly like this. But here's the thing. Trump didn't count on a certain group of people. Yeah, his plan all set. He had his wealthy guy, Louis DeJoy, who he put in there to run the postmaster, as the postmaster general, a guy who's given millions of dollars to Republicans. He got that guy in there. He thought he was set. Got everything. You know who he didn't count on? The patriotic women and men of the Postal Service. And more now, they're making their voices heard. We heard from the head of the union. There's two different unions involved. One of the unions came out very clearly, said that we can, even with the attempts to delay us, get all the ballots in time. You've got another union today, the National Association of Letter Carriers, NALC, part of the AFL-CIO, endorsed Joe Biden today, saying that, and they have over 300,000 members who are current carriers or former, say our decision is partly informed by what we've seen from the current administration with regards to the Postal Service. They call out the Trump administration never gave the postal workers the protective equipment they needed to keep them safe during COVID-19. In fact, my postal worker who comes to my apartment building, he got COVID-19 because Trump turned their back on them. Primarily, they're people of color, and Trump does not care about people of color. We know that, except to use them as props to demonize. So then you also had a great line here in the endorsement today. They wrote, the Postal Service must not be allowed to fail. Boom. The Postal Service must not be allowed to fail. They've made it clear they're going to deliver the ballots. You know, each day about 180 million pieces of mail are delivered. Every day 180 million pieces of mail. In 2016, about 135 million Americans voted. Everyone's not voting by mail. And even if half did, that's 60 million, and it'll be divided over time. But here is the big point, and it's something I went through yesterday in great detail. I will repeat it over and over again because our goal is winning this election. And that means thinking pragmatically and practically, how do we ensure that we can vote to win? Here's how. First, I do have a little bit more confidence in the mail now because of what we heard. But here's the way to ensure that your ballot is counted. 34 states now have no cause requests for absentee ballot. So you can just request it. You can go online and request it. Go to the Secretary of State of your state, not Mike Pompeo. He's not going to help you, but the state Secretary of State, to the local county clerk. Call up your city hall. Find out how you get an absentee ballot. They will send you the ballot. You fill it out. Make sure you fill it out correctly. Cross every T, dot every I, because if you don't, you're not going to get it counted. And then you return it. This is not mail-in voting. This is vote at home. How you return it, you have various options. The one I recommend, and it's open to everybody who gets an absentee ballot in every one of these states, is you return it personally. You don't have to return it on election day. You don't have to deal with any lines on election day. In certain states, it's by the county clerk. Others, it can be the library. It can be the city hall. It's set up in different places. The point is every state is different. You know, some people emailed me and said, what about using FedEx or UPS? The problem is many states have it really defined what you could use and what you can't. Most of them say you have to do it personally, send it in, or use the mail. Others say you can do it personally, or you can designate someone to bring the ballot back for you, or use the mail. Some are unclear. My point is, since every state is different, find out the answer. Do a little bit of homework, doesn't take much. Find out how you return it, because if you return it in a way that's improper, it will not be a valid ballot and it won't be counted. We want to win this election, right? This is how you do it. You have to make sure you return it. And here's the best part of returning it in advance. No lines to wait for an election day. No understaffed situation where Republicans are putting 2 workers in a place where there's a lot of Democrats and hundreds of workers, where there's places where there's Republicans, so Republicans get in and out, and Democrats have to wait 8 hours like we saw in Georgia recently in the primary. So you avoid that because you can return it anytime. There's no rush. Just get back there and return it before Election Day. And I would recommend days before Election Day, before there's any kind of alliance whatsoever. Or you designate someone to do it if you're allowed in your state. Second, there's a paper trail. You've got a paper trail of a ballot, which is really, really important. So to me, that's the key thing. And for Trumpers, here's the truth, Trumpers. I see the same thing. You want to make sure your ballot's counted? Here's the way you do it. And here's the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans want to disenfranchise people. I and my fellow Democrats want to enfranchise you. We want you to be able to vote. Why? So there's no dispute when we crush Trump on election day that we won fairly, and it sends a message to you and other Trumpers that your perversion of politics is done, that American values have Trump values. We are going to destroy Trump and then Trumpism that comes with it. So I want you to vote so that you know when you lose, you did everything possible. You made sure your ballot was counted, and you still lost. That's what I want. So here's the key. Bottom line, check now when you've got the time. There's no rush. Find out how you get an absentee ballot. Don't think of it as a mail-in ballot. It's not. It's a vote-at-home ballot. You can return it in various different ways. Just find out in your state how to do that. That's how we win this election on November 3rd, my friends. Thanks for tuning in to my little preview of tonight's Sirius XM Dino B. Dollar Show. It's on 6 to 9 p.m., channel 127, on Sirius XM channel 120.